In this video, I'll talk about some of the tips for carrying and handling your pasta machine, which will reduce wear and tear, allowing your machine to last much longer. And I'll go over how to deal with 5 of the most common issues you might face when working with one. Pasta machine care. My first tip is to be gentle with your pasta machine. A good rule of thumb is to avoid rolling clay that is more than double the thickness of any setting of the dial of your pasta machine. Forcing too much clay through any setting can result in permanent damage to your pasta machine over time. You'll know if this has occurred if clay consistently sticks to the rollers on the thinnest settings. This is an indication that the guide blades beneath may be bowed or that the alignment of the rollers might be compromised. This causes a gap that prevents the blades from lifting the clay off the rollers. To prevent this, slice your clay into thin sheets and then roll it through your machine through the largest setting. You may have to pick up small pieces and stick them back together and keep running it through the rollers. Gradually reduce the thickness settings to speed up the conditioning process. The reason for this is that the thinner settings help work with more surface area. You can feed it again by folding it in half and folding the sides. I personally do a combination of both. Just be sure to make sure that the folds are never at the top to avoid air bubbles. If the clay crumbles when rolling, knead crumbled pieces a bit with the warmth of your hands or do some initial rolling with your acrylic roller. Let's discuss horizontal streaks or ridges. Almost all pasta machines may show some horizontal ridges in your clay. It may be hard to see, but sometimes you'll see faint, colorless horizontal streaks in your sheets of clay due to the clay rubbing against the rollers. And it's usually not noticeable after the baking, sanding, and polishing process. However, they may be more likely to show if you're using the thickest or thinnest settings of your pasta machine. Also, these lines may become more pronounced as your machine wears over time, especially through rough handling of your pasta machine. However, if these lines bother you, there are a couple things you can do. The first method is rotating your clay. After you finish rolling your clay, rotate your clay at a 90-degree angle and feed it through the machine again. This should reduce the appearance of those horizontal lines. The second option is to place a sheet of paper on top of your clay and smooth it by burnishing your acrylic roller back and forth. This does not mean roll the roller, but rather rub the clay in order to smooth out the lines. Another issue you might face is rippling or chattering. Here, where my finger is pointing, are the effects of rippling, where a portion of the clay is being stretched because the clay sticks to both rollers as opposed to one. Here is where you see the effects of chattering, which occurs when clay sticks to the blade and releases after pressure builds up and sticks to it again. Both issues often occur on a thinner setting when using overly sticky clay. To resolve this, you can use a firmer brand of clay or apply a backing sheet as you roll your clay. If the rippling issue is caused by wear and tear on your machine, you may use 2 pasta machines to alleviate this problem by using the compromised one to condition and mix clays and use the other one mainly for passing through final sheets of clay through a thinner setting. Black streaks is another common issue that can occur. Over time, the steel rollers of your pasta machine may have a chemical reaction against the plasticizer in clay. This can cause vertical black streaks of oily residue on your clay, which tend to show up along the outside edges or on the rollers itself. This can be prevented by periodically cleaning your rollers, which I go over in my next videos. To avoid scratch rollers, avoid putting clay with any inclusions through your pasta machine. Inclusions like glitter may get stuck all over your machine and become near impossible to remove. Other inclusions may get stuck on the blade. You can remove them by running a sheet of baby wipes through the rollers. At worst, inclusions might scratch your rollers, or you may end up with a nicked blade, which might be smoothed out using sandpaper. However, it would involve disassembling your pasta machine. And lastly, if your pasta machine handle keeps falling off, please note that it's not you. This is a common problem for many pasta machine users. You can prevent this by putting a bit of duct tape on the handle to secure it in place. It really depends on your machine. I've heard some like to cut off the tip of a rubber glove and then jam it in with a hammer, but for me, a small piece of tape is enough for it to not accidentally fall out while still making it possible to pull back out even when there's some resistance. Thanks for watching till the very end. Please leave a thumbs up if this was helpful. Stay tuned for the cleaning pasta machine video that's coming next, and good luck with your next project.